Good morning, fellow option traders. This is Jeff, and welcome to the Daily Scan for Wednesday, March 26, 2014. Okay, yesterday's announcements, pretty much in line except for consumer confidence, which really took a big jump up. So apparently there's more confidence out there, at least in the people that they talk to. For today we have durable goods, and then the petroleum status report at 10:30. So we'll see how those affect the market, if at all, and whether you can determine whether they did affect the market or not, or if the market's just shrugging it off and moving on, or down, up or down, up or down. In Asia overnight, we had a pretty nice day. Not all that bad. Pretty much green across the board, and in Europe, as you can see here, we are pretty solidly green. Okay, anything interesting out here? There's just some news out there, nothing really special that I saw this morning. Okay, onward, and let's move forward. Here we have the futures in the U.S. We're looking up across the board. We should have a nice opening. We're already up 0.25%, so that's a very nice move. Usually indicates a continuation during the day. Usually they pile on this number a little bit, unless something bad comes out before the open, or anytime during the day. Okay, for gold, we're looking at, we're still keeping our nose above the 1300 level. And for oil, we're still below the $100 level, and that's good. Okay, on the account, LinkedIn's doing good. Our Chevron calendar, which is a put calendar at the 110 level, Chevron is currently at 117. We have until April, a lot of time on that calendar. And for FedEx, I did not buy I was going to sell a put above the 120 level, and I'm really glad I didn't. Let's take a look at that chart right here. SPY FedEx. I was contemplating selling a put down here at the 130 level, and it almost hit it yesterday. So I'm really glad that I did not do that. And we're still looking at 120. We're going to keep an eye on this. This is our regression line that we put in here, and this is going to move with each candle. When that candle forms, it's going to move this line. So we are right here, right now. But when the next candle prints, it's going to move, or if the next candle, the mathematical calculations come out that it won't move, then it won't move. Alright, and I thought that I was kind of curious about the whole regression thing, because really, to me, it's sort of an average of all this. All these different candles is kind of an average of sorts, but apparently it's not, because I went and took a look at what linear regression means, and it's not just a matter of a simple average calculation. For you brainiacs out there, you might want to take a look at this. I have no idea what all this stuff is, but I did read the text part up here, and I sort of can grasp what linear regression is all about. So I thought that might be interesting. And then I was taking a look at the studies in Thinkorswim. And here I found one that is a linear regression reversal. So let's take a look at that one. regression, linear regression reversal. So if we click on the question mark here, it says that it gives you a +1 when the current value of the linear regression curve is equal to or greater than that of the previous bar, and a -1 if it's vice versa. I'm not going to read that whole thing. So we have the study down here, and let's turn it on and take a look at it. I just thought it would be something of interest. And here it is. Here's what you get. If the linear regression over the last 14 days is higher than the one before, then we're going to get a +1, so it's going to be up here. And if it's lower, it's going to be a -1. So how does that, just out of curiosity, how does that compare to the CSSV2 studies? Alright, so here we're right in line here because we just went red on both studies. We stayed red and then we went green. So this would be a trigger for us to get in, and it continues the next day and continues the next day, and then we have an exit signal. But the linear regression stayed below 0 for that whole period of time. So could that work as another signal? Another confirmation of sorts? Let's take a look. We come along here. Of course, we're in a downtrend here, so this would not be a trigger to get in. We are in a downtrend, so our real first, we never get a good down trigger to get in. Here's one right here. We're in a downtrend. We come up and we get our first signal here to enter, and the linear regression reversal study agrees with that. And then we get one here that would tell us to get out, but the linear regression is staying, stay in, stay in, stay in, get out. So it's like a little bit, it could be, might in some cases lag it, and in some cases just kind of disagree. So we're still in a we're still in a downtrend. We come here, it says to get in, stay in, stay in, stay in, yet our linear regression is still a +1. So it's contradicting. I just thought it would be of interest, so if you want to play around with that, that could be something that you might want to. There's a million studies, well, not a million, but quite a few of them on the Thinkorswim platform. This one may be of interest. Okay, so this should give me edit. Yeah, I'm going to turn it off. I'll leave it hanging out there. I may mess around with this later sometime. Okay, so we're just going to head right over to our A+ list and take a little peek at yesterday, IWM. And we're looking at the calendars on a bunch of things, but I'm in the market for a truck right now, and that's pretty much what I spent yesterday doing, was calling, searching. I'm a Craigslist kind of person, and dealing with a couple of dealers, but I think I'm going to go to a personal, I'm not going to go through a dealer. I'm going to do it from the seller direct. Let's see here, IWM. Let's take a look at IWM. Didn't give us our trigger. And then we were looking at calendars maybe on Celgene, and this would be a directional calendar. How did Celgene do? Alright, we have a linear regression line here. Channel. This is a channel. I didn't do a calendar yesterday on that. So let's just take a look at these as we go through the A+ list. Open up our Analyze tab here to the risk profile. And let's get moving. Alright, Apple. Alright, Apple finally looks like as though it might break out of the doldrums here. So we have an uptrend. We need to wait for a full cycle, so we need this to come down and then continue in the uptrend and give us an entry. So let's throw a target up there. Okay, there we have a target. Amazon. Alright, Amazon's in a downtrend. We are looking for a target up here. Have a lot of time to wait for that one. For a CSSV2 entry. Boeing. Would really like to have had this come down at least to the 30 level here. Oh well. So it's not really going to give us a good entry. It could give us a 20 delta entry though if we get a hook here. This is a little bit of a pullback, and if you want to do something with a 20 delta with a longer expiration, we could do that. And what I mean by that, I've had some questions about that. We would go out to like an April expiration, and we're looking for this is the delta column, so we're looking for, actually we're looking for a bear call. So something with a 20 delta or thereabouts. So here's one with 17, and that's at the 130 level, and that would give us 39 cents. And 130 is up here, so that means that we need to stay below this line all the way into this expiration, or at least a majority of this time. And the risk profile would look like this. We're risking $461 for 39. And that's the kind of trades that you can do. And we'll take a look at what it would look like here if we put this expiration up. And you have it's telling you here, this is the break even, so this is 19%. You have spit it out, Jeff, a 90% or 80% chance, because the delta is about 20, so that gives you about an 80% chance that this trade is going to be successful. But if it isn't, it's going to hurt. So that's what I mean by a 20 delta, and I've covered this a lot of times in the past. So that's just a standard kind of run-of-the-mill average. You know, that's pretty much what most credit spread traders talk about, is higher probability trades with probability of around a delta 20 is going to give you a 20 or an 80% chance of success mathematically. Now, the ones that we do with CSSV2 have a delta of around 50, so that's a 50-50 chance, but we're using momentum, theoretically, to get a better probability of success. Okay, so let's move on to Baidu. And Baidu, we're waiting for it to come up here, hit our target, but we can see that it did not have a good day yesterday, and we have a red print here, so really we have a violation. We need to come back down. Well, we're at the 30 line here. What is that? That's at 30.65. That's probably good enough if it continues up for the rest of these for another couple of days, and then gives us a pullback, or gives us a kicker down, then that would be good. We're moving on to Celgene. We were thinking about a calendar for this, maybe somewhere down here with an April-May expiration down here, in the 130s. Could be a possibility. And then we're looking for a CSSV2 trade here as well. Chipotle. Okay, we have a setup. And made note of that. Costco. Alright, it failed us, so this is no longer valid, so we're just going to get rid of it. We had a failure. We wanted solid green all the way up. It has decided to possibly reverse its trend. We'll wait and see what happens with Costco. CVX, here's our calendar. Got a lot of time on it. It's doing pretty well. Not exactly sure what's going to be going on with that. I had this arrow here. Yeah, I had this arrow here just to let me know that I had a expiration out here. So we can take that off now, because now we're seeing it, and actually had a hook here, but I was concerned about this, not in the rules, but this exponential moving average crossing here. That's not in the rules, it's just a little something extra that I've added recently. So nothing going on there for CSSV2, and here we have Igor coming down, we have split coming up. So we're just going to keep an eye on this one for right now. We're still waiting for it to hit our target. FedEx. I'm looking to possibly recalendarize this thing. Just haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Looked at a bunch of different possibilities. I'm glad I did not do this. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Okay, gold. We didn't, looks like as though it was going to do something here, and then it failed the next day, so I'm glad we didn't get in on that one. And this was a Friday, so we would not do this on a Friday. So are we still good here? Yeah, if gold moves up, we might still be good. I'm not sure. I'm going to take this off of there, and we'll just move on to better prospects. Everyone is not a prospect. Okay, we have an unconfirmed hook up here on Google. So we're just going to keep an eye on that. That still falls into the setup category right now. So if we get another move up and then we get confirmation down here, that is a good sign to get in. So we'll add that to our setups for today. Alright, IWM, we had it as a setup yesterday, and it didn't give us yet, but we're still waiting. It's still a setup today. Alright, LinkedIn. We're in LinkedIn. Looks like as though we almost had a exit signal yesterday, so I am going to make a note of this to possibly exit this today. Take the money off the table. MasterCard. Okay, we have a target set up here. We'll see if it can come up and at least kiss the 70. We have a lot of time to wait for that one. 3M, nothing from a CSSV2. Do we have anything going on from... Are we seeing any direction here? We got these two moving averages riding right along with each other, and we have no momentum. No momentum, and there's no money in calendars on this one. Netflix, okay, here we have a regression channel drawn in here on Netflix. If you wanted to do a calendar with the short expiring on any of these weeks here, you could do that probably somewhere around the center line, quite possibly, or maybe even down along the bottom border of this, and get really aggressive for a move down. I was looking around 320 yesterday for for expiration for the short strike of April, just because we have earnings out here. So that's going to still be on my radar screen for today. All right, we're almost done, folks. Price line. Here's a regression line, not a channel. It also looks like it's kind of taking a digger. And is there earnings out here? We're not quite seeing the earnings date yet on Priceline. I think is usually pretty late. This one is February, so this would be May. So we have a lot of time on this one. We're in the 91 percentile. So the IV is about as high as it's ever been. That's not good for a calendar, because if IV drops, then the value of the calendar drops. So this would not be a good calendar candidate. Slide down here to the spiders. Looking at some calendars down here for the spiders. Probably not a good idea. We have a regression line drawn in here. If you're going to trade off of regression lines, I would suggest throwing in that study that I talked about earlier, just to see if this, when I was talking about this line moving up, so when you get the +1+1, this line is going to start moving up, and then pretty soon it'll go past the 50%, or it'll start turning up. But this has to be over the last 14 days as well. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This actually ends up being 13. If I extended this over to this candle, then it would be 14 days. So it's calculating all these candles and drawing this line and then projecting it into the future with all that gobbledygook that we looked at before. Okay, Tesla. What do we have going on here? We did not get our alert, even though... Okay, so this is a case study here. We didn't get above the high of the day before, and that is also an entry signal. So we have confirmation on our studies, but price-wise we did not get that. And look at today. So we're going to move this alert down. I'm going to move it down to here. So it's above the open of yesterday, but not above the high. So here's the open right here, and the high is up here. So now we're going to move our alert down. So we're just looking for confirmation on price. All right, and then last is Visa. And Visa's still wallowing around the zero line on the MACD, and really trying to figure out which way it wants to head. and it's not sure. So we got 5, 10, this is 15 days here, so if we were to draw a regression line, let me get, so this is 5, 10, 15, so we do it from this candle out to this candle. So that's where it's telling us it's heading according to the regression calculations. That's a little interesting thing to throw up there. All right, well, we talked about some, I hope, topics that were interesting for you today. We're done with our scan. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and happy trading.